welcome to the Kicking the Peanut. Today is the lovely day of Easter Sunday in April. Is this April 9th today in
Yes.
2023? All right. Well, this is the Kicking a Peanut show where we just kind of, kick our thoughts around like a peanut and talk about things. And I am joined by who is
I
with
am
me?
Xander.
And I am Jack, and I'm happy to be here with you guys today.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Who else is with me?
I'm Scotty Bugatti, or 1.21 gigawatt Scott.
Yep.
Great Scott. And I am the lovely Who is Alice. Welcome to the Kicking the Peanut. What we're going to start off with, like we usually do. We didn't do it last week, which I feel like a weirdo and kind of I'm going to go, no. And say we start off like doing a weekly checkup on how everybody's life has gone. So I'm gonna start off with you, Xander. How has your week been?
Oh man, dude, this past week has been crazy. Like, we had our staff meeting last night. A lot of stuff is being covered. We're making extremely progressive strides for the OMNI coalition in many ways that I can't even disclose right now. But like, I got my standing desk converter. Like I'm gonna be, getting that so that way I can stand, more often, like, and all that stuff. What else happened? Friggin' Jace is trying to get me into Elder Scrolls Online, so I'm hoping tomorrow at the absolute earliest, because, there's a lot of stuff I gotta do, like, in the background and such, but I am making plans on simultaneous unilateral multi-platform live streaming. We're going to be live streaming not just to my YouTube, but to the OMNI Coalition's YouTube, as well as to our Twitch to start us off, with plans on expanding to other platforms and medias and all that stuff. But as I said with ESO, I let him talk me into him buying all that stuff for me, which, if anybody knows me, you know that that's very difficult to do, to spend money on me. I make a very bad... I'm not going to make that joke on air, but you know what I'm saying.
We're a jack of all trades where I think we have gotten a strike because stuff.
Yeah, let's watch ourselves.
But
no, I'm planning on starting to live stream from step one, my ESO career. So, like, from level 0, like, I haven't even approached the first quest giver. So I'm going to be live streaming all of that, and hopefully tomorrow. But what about you, Mr. Nuclear Jack? How's your past week been? Anything interesting in your life?
Yeah. How was your week?
Not bad, actually, but just dealing with the weather here in Illinois. I guess it's kind of like cold and hot, and then my head's
you're
all
having me off and on.
fluffy.
Yeah, well, you're still south of where I'm from, not Wisconsin, Xander.
I give her shit all the time about not being from Wisconsin just to piss her off, and it works all the time, like a charm.
I'm from Minnesota, so.
Okay, you're way up there. Well, from
Yeah,
where
I'm
at.
up north. But
Right.
you're saying, off and on weather out there. Plus, you also got some tornadoes in your area with some severe weather in the last week and a half or so, too.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind a nice windy day, or at least something to watch. If it's going to rain outside, we might as well have a storm with it.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Chicago is also known as the Windy City.
Right?
And you're in Illinois, so, I mean, I don't think... I'm not saying that you're in Chicago or anything like that, but... Yeah, you have also very interesting weather because of the Great Lakes, just like we do.
I have something to say about Chicago here. If I may
Chicago's
interrupt.
got an epic train station, I'll tell you that. Chicago's train station.
Oh, the L train?
But, like, speaking of Chicago, the word Chicago, the most accepted Chicago meaning is a word that comes from the Algonquin language Shikakawa, meaning striped skunk or onion. According to early explorers, the lakes and streams around Chicago were full of wild onions, leeks, and ramps. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I did not know that. I
Yep.
thought it meant something like.
Do you know Milwaukee is Milwaukee from the Ashgons ones, I think, as well, which means the good land.
Fuck. Let's check this out.
Alice Cooper will provide you with that information in the movie Wayne's World.
In the
That is
early
true.
years, the city of Milwaukee arose from a collection of scattered settlements on a site similar to the Native American tribes in what is now eastern Wisconsin. Local historians attribute the name to a word derived from the Potawatomi tribe. The Potawatomis
Oh.
pronounced it Ma-a-wak, meaning council grounds.
Oh, well, so Alice Cooper was wrong then?
I
Maybe
just hear
he's
a
right.
bunch
I don't
of-
know. Like maybe there's like some more
I
semantics
hear
to
a
the
bunch
thing.
of 20-year-olds saying, "What's Wayne's World?"
I just
Yeah,
saw
I
Wayne's
know,
World
you're
for the
like,
first
"What
time the other
is
night.
this?"
Both of
No,
them.
yeah, we did the double decker. We did Wayne's World 1 and 2.
Nice.
I actually, my brother, my youngest older brother, if that makes sense. He gave me that for I think my 9th birthday or
Huh.
10th birthday, one or the other. Can't remember. 8th, 9th, or 10th. We'll
Hell yeah.
yeah. But anyways, you're saying the weather has been up and down out there, but otherwise in your personal life, anything interesting or crazy happened to you in the last week, Jack?
The last week, not quite the last week. My granddaughter was just born on March 28th, so
Awesome, awesome, dude. You do not look
Congratulations.
old enough to be a grandfather.
I don't feel old enough to be one either.
How old are you? If you
37.
don't. Oh,
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, you're
What?
wow,
I'm older than you.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, man. Happy
You never
grandfather.
know.
Would
Thank you, guys.
congrats, indeed. You know that's weird because I actually had a coworker that I worked with when I detailed cars out in the Twin Cities. She was like 39 when she became a grandmother.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
like it's not unheard of. It happens. So you're
kind
a
of-
young mother.
I'm
Congratulations,
wondering,
guys.
do I need to, file for Medicare and get some adult diapers?
No,
And,
not Medicare. You're older. You need to do Social Security or Medicaid.
AARP, right?
I see.
AARP. Yeah, you should just go with AARP.
But yo, speaking of grandchildren, let's move on to Scott here.
Yeah, Scotty
Right,
Bugatti. How was
right.
your week?
Week's been alright. I've spent some time with family, done the thing with the long distance relationship, which I'm trying to move out to be with that person.
Yeah.
Weather is finally, it's springtime. Stuff's getting warmer. The flowers are coming out. It's a good thing to see.
You're getting all the crabapple blossoms coming out already and stuff.
Well, like forsythia and daffodils and stuff, all that.
No, I've seen the daffodils blooming too. So out here.
You know, it just
I mean,
reminded
I'm
me of the producers. It's springtime for Hitler in Germany. Remember that?
Oh God. Let's just not go into that one right now, quite yet.
I saw that on Broadway. Yeah.
But yeah,
Just-
everything's starting to bloom down here. Like it's weird for me because I'm from the Midwest, like Jack here, and we usually don't start seeing that stuff until like later this month or in May. So
It's
But-
early.
yeah, it's early for me, and plus like I'm not used to the lack of snow out here on the East Coast. It's weird.
Oh my gosh,
but-
there was barely any snow a whole winter here, so.
Oh, I know, right? And like, other than that, though, like you're planning to go out to your special girl, your special
Yeah.
lady. You're the weather's being like weird, like it is for me. What else is going on with you there, Scotty Bugatti?
I think the most extreme thing was just the fact of me having a job from like the end of January up until March. I was doing a personal care assistant job. And his mental thing just wasn't going right, and like he didn't want me there, so like now I'm just figuring out another job right now. It's just like it's a little bit tough, but
Yeah. So there's good things going on, and then there's some like stressful things going on at the same time.
Life.
yeah, the ups and
Right.
downs. It's a little bit
Yeah.
trying to adjusting to change.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster. I get that, and I understand that, man. Like, but
Yeah.
you know me. You know you have my full support in whatever you do. I just want you to move forward and be
Same,
the man and awesome man I know you are. So
same for you.
Yep.
Same for you.
yeah, that's what you do. I've had a very interesting week, actually. Since I guess it's my time now to say that. I am about to be like being the standing acting store manager again for about a week this upcoming week here at my job, and because my unfortunately my boss she's been in she started having a period again, like what seemed like a period, and but
Post
she's been in
menopause, right?
menopause for like 6 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna say it's menopause, bro.
yeah.
Yep.
No, well, no, she's already been in menopause for over 6 years. So
Oh,
she started bleeding out of nowhere in it, and she went to get checked out uh, a week and a half or 2 weeks ago almost, and it turns out she has a mass down in like by like where her uterus
Let's
and her
not get too
cervix.
graphic here, please.
Well, no, oh, these are actual medical terms here, buddy, so they're safe.
cervical
Anyway,
cancer.
it's a
It's like
tumor
cervical
down in
cancer.
her lady parts that they're gonna remove, but they only said that she needs a week off for time. So during that week, I'm just gonna be acting like person there. I don't really consider it really being a manager, but
You're an
some
interim manager
people.
like you were before.
Well, I was a
It's not
temporary
cervical.
manager when I lost my manager
Well,
from
because you don't have a car, you can't do the money stuff. So,
N- Well, no, I still did do the deposits. I just had to use I had to do metro, like local transit stuff for
yeah,
it.
but
So
that's not fast or efficient or anything like. It's also dangerous. Somebody
no,
can steal it from you. So,
oh, absolutely. But but like me, I'm like a safety kind of girl, and I always carry a nice knife on me.
yeah,
So
I have a nice knife
like
on
I
me
like to
too.
be safe. So that's going on, and it's Easter. Like I went to church this morning for the Easter service. I cried there. It wasn't because I'm like so overly emotionally moved by like spirituality and Christianity. It was more so it's just I really missed my mom and dad, and like it reminded me of like when we had to go to church for Easter, Christmas, and all those like special holidays that like revolve around like Christianity and stuff. I used to remember like being there with like my mom and dad, and my siblings for a while, and then I haven't had that, and now I'm living in a place where my family is over 1,000 miles away, and I go to a church, and it just kind of reminds me of that, and it just made me really sad but happy that I went to church, but sad that I'm not with my family today.
You're homesick.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'm homesick essentially. But I was homesick even when I was living there because like even then when I was living back in Minnesota, I we weren't going to like church services together like we used to when I was younger, you know?
Do you guys
So
find it odd that they celebrate Easter and the Passover all together like we do here in this country when really it's kind of one thing's about Moses and one thing's about Jesus. There's a huge gap there.
there's a
I
very
don't
big gap, yes. I understand
ever
what you're
really
saying.
thought about that till today,
Mm.
you
Well,
know.
today, Christ was supposedly resurrected. And actually, in a way, I do believe maybe that could happen, but at the same time, you never know.
Right.
But I wish I had that belief that I had when I was a child, that strong belief. Like when I can actually remember when I was a kid, I remember like buckling the seatbelt next to me in the back seat of the car, and my parents would ask me why I'm doing it. I'm like, well, if we get in a car accident, I want Jesus to be safe too. I know it's one of my
That's
very
awesome.
early. I wish I could have that like blind faith like that
Yeah.
again,
By the way,
but
I
I
want
don't.
to I want to say something really quick. Mr. Jack, if you sit up a little bit more, you'll look like Inspector Gadget with his helicopter hat.
Right?
Ironically, that you
The
say Inspector
innocence of
Gadget.
being a
Andrew,
child, right?
Kind of
I
noticed
actually
that.
learned how to play that on the
Yeah.
piano. Inspector Gadget's theme song. Doodle-doo,
Inspector Gadget, diddle-diddle-doo-doo. Go, Gadget, helicopter blades.
The
Go,
innocence of
Gadget,
being a child,
Peter.
right?
What, Scott?
I was just saying the innocence of being a child, right? Just
Oh,
having
yeah.
that stuff up when
Yeah,
you're
that
young.
blind, that belief in everything. Like,
Right.
God, I wish I
Ignorance
could
is
have it
bliss.
again.
So,
But here's the thing about
Right.
that, like, you're so impersonable with that. At the same time, people can, like, influence you, like, having that, you know, at that age. And that's where it gets dangerous. And that could be a whole topic for another show. Because what we're going to move into now, because now that we've done our update weekly how everyone's doing, I want to move into the pig war.
Let's go.
yeah, the Pig War was a confrontation in 1859 between the United States and the United Kingdom over the British-U.S. border in the San Juan Islands between Vancouver Island and the state of Washington. So, start date June 15th, 1859, and it lasted until October of the same year. It said length 13 years. That's weird.
Whoa. Really that long?
I don't know. There, by July 1874, the last of the U.S. troops had left U.S. camp. The only casualty was a pig. But I have here the whole Wikipedia.
The only casualty was a pig.
I'm sorry.
War is hell.
Well, no, essentially what happened, to put it into a nutshell, and I will post this Wikipedia in the underbar of the description below post stream, but essentially what happened was a pig from a Canadian pig raiser like wandered away or like broke out or something, and it found its way into a U.S. Farmer's crops and started eating those. So the farmer shot the pig. But that was property from the Canadian guy, which Canada at the time was completely under the rule of the British Crown, and then like, you know how politics are, like, you killed my pig, well, it broke into my thing, but it's my pig, meh meh. So it started. We almost went to war over this with the Brits again. So
It reminds me of the TV show that's going on. I think it's on Paramount or HBO or Max. I don't know. Of the show 1923, where there's a huge rivalry between like an Irish farmer who does like lambs and sheep. Oh no, does sheep, and this other farmer that does cattle. Hey, honey.
It reminds me of the Hatfields and McCoys. Didn't they get into it over a pig?
Probably.
Yeah, dude. Hatfields and McCoys. That was a whole show on television. So.
I have the whole thing here if you want me to read this real quick. It's a couple paragraphs. June 15, 1859, exactly 13 years after the adoption of the Oregon Treaty, the ambiguity led to direct conflict. Lehman Coulter, a U.S. farmer who had moved onto San Juan Island claiming rights to live there under the Donation Land Claim Act, found a pig rooting in his garden and eating his tubers, which are potatoes, kind of. This was not the first occurrence, and was a result. Coulter shot the pig, killing it. It turned out that the pig was owned by an Irishman, Charles Griffin, who was employed by the Hudson Bay Company to run the sheep ranch on the island. And actually, didn't we talk about that during the history show? That they ceded their territory to Canada, right? We spoke about that during today's show, the history show.
I don't know about today, but maybe before, but I don't recall it today.
I could swear. I'll look into that after I read this. He also owned several pigs that he allowed to roam freely. The two had lived in peace until this incident. Coulter offered $10, which is the equivalent of $300 as of 2021, to Griffin to compensate for the pig, but Griffin was unsatisfied with this offer and demanded $100, equivalent to $3,000 in 2021. Following this reply, Cutler believed he should not have to pay for the pig because the pig had been trespassing on his property. One likely apocryphal account was Cutler saying to Griffin, quote, "It was eating my potatoes," end quote, and Griffin replying, quote, "It is up to you to keep your potatoes out of my pig," end quote. When British authorities threatened to arrest Coulter, U.S. settlers called for military protection. and then that
Wow.
escalated, military escalation. Here we go, resolution. So, but we almost went to war over this, like the stupidest things,
It sounds a
Wow.
lot like something we would go to war over today, but we
Well,
kind of
I
take
don't
things
know.
that are trivial back then, and we kind of treat these big issues now in a trivial way. I think.
Well,
Yeah.
we could have went to war over the Chinese spy balloon, but we didn't. So
Don't even get me started on that.
Yeah, that
Right here,
leads
I
to
found it. On this date in
more questions.
1869, Hudson Bay Company ceded its territory to Canada. I knew it was today. So we reported on that earlier today in the history show. So that's interesting.
Interesting.
We've spoken about the Hudson Bay Company 2 different times today. That's strange. So,
yeah.
but uh, but if anybody remembers, like, Hey Arnold from early '90s Nickelodeon, there's one episode where they kind of themed it after this, and like there's this thing they do every year, in the show, at least, like, in the show's lore, about, like, the Great Pig Hunt. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's an interesting episode. It's a really good cartoon. If anybody hasn't seen it,
Oh, for sure, man. Hey Arnold is awesome.
hell yeah. Where'd Alice go? All right. Well, we lost our
Hi there.
hosts. Oh, there she is.
We lost our host.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was talking to the lovely man in the background. He just came back from doing stuff, so I was like, oh. Well, yeah, I figured Xander could. Well, he's my co-host. He's my partner in crime. So,
Yep.
I'm
anyways,
just
our
chopped liver.
our next topic on here was about the no taxation without representation. Also, kind of ties in with how they want to change the voting age.
I don't think it ties in with that. It's just weird how things are kind of going.
That's what I thought. Like, I didn't think it tied into it, but at the same time, like when we were talking about earlier before the show, that like you're like, oh. But anyways, it's both political kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like for those who are like sensitive to political topics and you don't want to hear this, don't listen to it.
Well,
Just,
I don't believe I've spoken to Nuclear Jack about this, so I'm about to blow your mind, good sir. This country was founded on no taxation without representation.
Right.
Well,
Right.
as we know, children as young as 15, 16, 17, can get jobs, and work and get money and everything. Now, what happens with every paycheck? Taxes are taken out, but they can't vote. Taxation without representation.
Right, I kind of agree. I mean, we have laws that relate to how we drive and what we do on the road, and those people usually still aren't old enough to vote either. So.
Yeah, well, that brings up another point. Like, a 16-year-old, we, like in school, they have to raise their hand and ask permission to go to the bathroom, but then we turn around and give them the ability to drive a 2-ton hunk of metal with controlled explosions under the hood. Are we out of our bloody minds? Like, seriously.
Also back in the day that you weren't able to vote unless you were a landowner, like you
Yeah.
owned land.
That was way back
And
in the day.
so that was like back, yeah, you had to like own land
Yeah.
to be able to vote. So
And as
well, and that was
Loon,
only men that owned land because back in the day they didn't let women do it, which whatever, I don't care. And actually, like that goes into a whole different like caboodle right there, where a lot of women weren't on board for women to have the right to vote. Most
Now,
women
if you have an ID,
actually
you
on
can
board
vote.
for it.
I'd
If
really
you have
like
an ID,
to
you can
see
vote.
it.
yeah. Oh, out here in
Yeah,
California,
if you're
illegal.
18 and you're not a felon that's done time, you
Yeah.
can vote. But like
Exactly.
right now, they're letting felons vote anyway. But I think I guess it depends on the type of felony that you have.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
And I want to
Which
bring.
I thought it was just a felony flat out, but apparently based on like type of felony, you can vote.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Well, I know out here in California, illegals can vote, and
Yeah,
all that
well,
stuff.
that goes in a whole, yeah, that goes in a whole different, like,
Yeah.
area, too.
But I
Like, we
want to
could
bring
have,
back up what the Golden Loon said earlier today's show, the history show, because back during the Vietnam War, when it was first going on, and when they were conscripting people, the voting age was 21. And they reduced it to 18 because people were like, hey, we can't vote, but you're sending us over to die? What the hell is this bullshit? You know? Like, that is crap.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Right.
They,
I
they
think
needed
that,
soldiers, dude. They needed the soldiers back then.
Yeah.
well, and
I'd
also,
like
like,
to
mind you,
skip
like, a
back to
lot of those
one
soldiers
day
back then weren't even
voting.
landowners, and I think that's why they made the, like, that, amendment where you could. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an amendment, but you know what I mean.
Probably it was an amendment. I don't know all the amendments. I should. I'm a very bad
Well,
U.S. citizen.
it was
So
a, like, original, like, placement of, like, how that goes. I don't know, like, I'm not a constitutional, like, law person by any means necessary, but,
But let's get into the second thing you're talking about, lowering voting age to 16. I believe they're trying, if they haven't already done that, in New Zealand.
I don't know about New Zealand, but even though like my dad does frequent out there, like he avoids winter in Minnesota by any cost, by because like they're in the southern hemisphere, so when it's winter here, it's summer there.
That would
My
make
my
a
dad
difference.
my dad has successfully avoided winter for like a decade, except for during COVID.
If they changed the
he-
voting age to 16, that would make quite a difference. That's a lot
Oh
of
no,
people.
that would make a
But,
lot
like,
of
people
people.
don't agree with
I
it.
think this is a one-sided argument. Like, I really think, like, in all honesty, I think you should be like 21 or 25 years old to be on to
Like,
vote.
I'll go off on a whole tangent about that here in a second, but right now, I have here from November 21st last year, 2022, New Zealand to decide on lowering voting age from 18 to 16. So,
Oh,
yeah, they're in the process at least. So,
yeah. Well,
Some
no
people feel
wonder.
that
Like,
people at that age aren't really engaged. Like,
well, you're a
but you're voting on
teenager, though.
impulse.
Like, I
Right.
think you should be like a real like. But then again, you're like, well, when are you really an adult? Like, some would say you're 18 when you're an adult. Legally, you are an adult at 18, but
I have another
mentally,
one here
I
from
would
CNN.
argue that between 20 and 25 and 35, your brain's fully developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
stuff has changed nowadays. People with younger minds can see the media and all that stuff. Like they can maybe, it's just like things have changed in the last 10 years.
A lot,
Yeah.
yeah.
But do
Like I
they?
understand my nieces and nephews, because one of my nieces, well, they're 12 years younger than me, and like I get it, because like I can connect with them with what they're doing, but like they know way more about like how to use like technology than I do. Not
I
gonna
don't
lie,
think
I'm kind of
we
an
teach
idiot
people
with
to vote
technology.
on all the variety of issues. I think they kind of try to push people to vote on one single issue. I'm going to vote this way because of how they feel on abortion, or I'm going to vote just for how they feel on oil. When there's a whole
There's a whole lot more to think
bigger
about.
picture.
Yeah.
Right.
But like,
There's a whole lot more to consider than just that. It's like you gotta think about foreign policy, and you gotta think about like more importantly, people need to start like paying attention to like the financial
Economy,
area right now
right.
in the economy. Like, cause with the way things are going, banks are starting to falter again. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna bail them out again? Of course, because we got Biden. Obama did it, so of course Biden's gonna do it. I mean, I don't want to get too into politics here, like too much into it.
I have a
Yeah.
rant that's been building up inside my head. I got to spew here. So number one, I'm just gonna say this: I don't believe voting works. I think it's all a farce. Because what better way to keep the boot on the neck of the common person than to give the illusion of having a choice?
Yeah.
But
Right.
that's my own vendetta. If I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. Voting, the whole thing about reducing it from 18 to 16, and I'll get into the whole like age thing here in a second. But if you look at how everything is going, the media, education, like high schools, colleges, all the propaganda and everything being shoved down our children's throats, if voting is not what I believe it to be, then we're looking at like multiple generations of brainwashed youths, voting for whatever, what's the word? Uh, uh,
And a lot of people don't feel these elections are secure anymore.
oh yeah.
No.
That the,
Well,
Uh,
especially after COVID, like people are already suspected like prior to it. Like, and I'm sorry, like YouTube and everybody here, but like we didn't have mail-in voting unless like you were an absentee ballot, like you were out of the country,
we knew the
right?
results at the end of the day.
now I
Like,
have an
well,
idea.
hmm.
Right.
Now, I'm a libertarian, okay? I am all for smaller government. However, there is something that, like I've been thinking about because, like, you guys were touching on this subject about the brain developing, 23, 25 and all that stuff. Uh,
No, between 25 and 35, I
yeah.
believe.
Well,
There's
between
a good
25 and
margin.
35, like, actually, let's look it up right now. When does the brain stop developing?
Well, Google, like you could
In the
find like
20s.
searches where I out. That's why I give it a huge gap. It's like
The brain finishes developing and maturing in the mid to late 20s. The part of the brain behind the forehead, called the prefrontal cortex, is one of the last parts to mature. This area is responsible for skills like planning, prioritizing, and making good decisions. So that's important. Um, Now, with that said, I'm not going to go into this myself, like, into politics and all that stuff, but like, I propose an OMNI license. Like, now, at the end of the day, you can always say, like, once again, I'm a libertarian. I am not for government control of anything. And at the end of the day, it's all up to the parents. But there does need to be constraints. So I believe that there should be an OMNI license for access to the internet, for driving, for buying alcohol, for voting, for being able to join or get drafted in the armed service. Basically, anything and everything adults. You do not get any rights until you're 23 or 25. Period.
yeah,
Because you're still
like
developing as a person. You should not be responsible. You should not be given the responsibility for having major decisions like voting, for screwing yourself up, with tobacco and alcohol and all that stuff, for laying your life down on the line because you're still, a kid, and for access to the internet because we all know how damaging the internet can be, and
well, social
driving
media
because, as I
also.
said, driving, 2-ton death machine with controlled explosions under the hood. Like, like everything that requires responsibility should not be a right until you're 23 or 25. So,
And you
I
also
could
should
see.
be also people like need to start like holding themselves accountable for their actions too with
hmm
this too. So I mean, obviously it's not going to be a foolproof thing because people find a way
yeah,
or whatever. Like for God's sakes, like I can't believe the fact that like my one of my nieces got away with having a fake ID to go to the bar while she was in college.
dang,
I never even like thought about the idea of a fake ID. When I was growing, and like I said, like she's younger than me, but not like that much younger than me. Like I have more of a closer age gap. I have less of an age gap with my niece than I do her mother,
damn,
which is yeah. Well,
that's
my
weird.
sister's
What?
well, no, my sister's 16 years older than
Oh, okay.
me.
I feel like
Yeah,
if I
well,
talk politics with somebody that age, I get a blank stare most of the time.
You'll
a
get
lot
the
of times they're not
fluoride
even paying
stare.
attention. They're just looking at they're just reading the headline and not reading anything.
Right.
They're
That too.
not researching. Like they just go like, oh well, this source said this just by the headline, so that must be true. And people aren't researching as much as they used to. What's scary for me, to me and myself, I should say, is that like this new generation coming out has a smaller IQ than the generations before. That's what scares me.
Alice, ash your cigarette. That's making me
I
nervous.
agree. Makes you afraid to go to
I'm
the
outside.
doctor.
Still makes me nervous.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I'm
it
sorry. What
happens.
were you saying, Jack?
Oh, bouncing off what she was saying, it about makes you afraid to go to the doctor in the next 5 or 10 years when you're going to have
Yeah.
surgeons younger than you, and
Yeah, yeah, that's scary. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, like I don't like. I was always reluctant because I have a bad back to go in back when in my early 20s to like they wanted to fuse my spine in my early 20s, and now like bouncing off of youth from there, like I like now, like with all the technology out there, even now, like I am reluctant. I'll be very reluctant when they finally say like you have to squeeze it, but I'm not going to. I just don't want to. I don't trust the system when it comes to medical stuff. Not anymore, especially after the last couple of years.
You know,
Well,
our
you
Like,
don't want to
medical
suffer.
records used to be private.
You don't want to suffer, so you might as well figure that out.
I
oh
think
no, I suffer in other ways anyway. So
I
I
think
mean,
one thing that Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, kind of did really was take all our private medical records and put them on a government computer. You know.
yep. Yeah, that and I also like lost my tax returns, even though I didn't like I filed properly and everything, but like no, I ended up having to owe them when under Obama when I went with when Trump was in office, I was able to actually get a huge refund because he like got rid of Obamacare, like basically because I wasn't like opting into like
Something
healthcare, I chose not to. I got fined for it.
Trump did something pretty big that not a lot of people talk about, and that was lowering the business tax. Um,
Yeah,
a lot
and
of people
now
don't
and
mention
then
that.
Biden. I'm sorry, not Obama. Biden. He like what on his first day he
Hmm.
executive ordered like kiboshed that.
Raised it right back up. Yeah.
Yep, and people
Alice,
are
I don't
like,
blame you for confusing the two because they're essentially the same person.
yeah, I know exactly. That's why it was a play on words. But like yeah, like it's getting crazy out there. Like I know that a lot of people are having buyer's remorse. I bet you my one of my brothers is regretting voting for Kanye West. But I mean,
I wrote
I
in
know.
Vermin Supreme 2020.
Oh, the shoe hat
The guy
guy,
with the boot and 17 ties. Yeah,
and you can go to jail if you don't
brush your
brush your
teeth. He
teeth.
had mandatory toothbrushing laws.
Yep, mandatory toothbrushing laws and a free pony for everybody.
Yeah, Carrera actually hung out with him, believe it or not.
Do
He
we have
has
to
some
brush the
merch.
pony's teeth?
What?
Yeah, I know.
We got,
Vermin Supreme, look him up.
we,
Like, just show a picture of him.
I
Like,
got it.
it's.
If anybody's watching my screen, you'll see what I'm looking at on my browser here. But here he is with his giant toothbrush.
Yep.
oh, see, everybody's got some issue they take hugely.
Actually, before 2016, I used to like because I've been able to vote for quite some time since I'm probably the oldest one in. Yeah, I am the oldest one in right now. Well, chatting on video anyway.
Grandma
Um,
Stapes!
great auntie Stapes. I don't have kids. Remember, I'm great auntie Stapes. Get it right. Anyway, but god damn it, you had to say Grandma Stapes, and you just made me have a brain fart.
Oh, it doesn't take too much effort to fart your brain.
Well, actually, though, like what I can say right now, though, is that my partner, crime, my boyfriend, he knows a lot about Vermin Supreme.
We
Like,
gotta bring him on the show. Tell him to stop being such a shy little thing.
oh, let's see if I can get him in. Oh, yeah, look, Maggie, magnetic.
Open the window! You're supposed to yell Wilma.
Oh, my hand's too clean. That Gears and gay porn. Oh shoot, you might want to edit that out.
I'm not
Next time
going
you have
to.
a
I'm lazy.
conversation.
But yo, let's move on up. Alice, you also wanted to talk about the Appalachian Mountains, Pangea, and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Well, yeah, Pangea and Appalachian. So, like, let's move on to that because that's gonna be the last topic for the day. And I was talking to a customer who said he went out to Ireland, and he's like, you know what? I found a calm peacefulness out there, and the reason why I realized it is because part of the Appalachians. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, if you look at like when like Europe and England and all that, like remember everything was all at one junction,
One
like all
continent, Pangea.
one time, yeah. And then Pangea happened, it slowly separated and broke apart.
No, Pangea
And
is the name of the supercontinent. Then continental drift caused, that stuff.
yeah, Pangea, yeah. So what he was saying is that like if you were to crunch back to when it was a supercontinent, um Ireland like was right up on the ridge of the Appalachian Mountains. And that makes me start to think that like the highlands of Scotland and parts of like northern Scandinavia, like Norway and Sweden, they're also part of that.
Now I
And I
have
was like,
something
oh
here.
damn.
I have this up here. Were
Yeah.
the Appalachian Mountains in Pangea the birth of the Appalachians? When Pangea began to break apart 175 million years ago, the Central Pangean Mountains split into the Scottish Highlands, the Appalachian Mountains in North America, and Little Atlas Mountains in Morocco, in Africa.
Oh, like Africa?
Yeah, northwestern Africa, Morocco.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even Morocco's part of it. So the also like we were talking right before the show, like speaking of that area of Morocco, there's the eye of the Sahara Desert too.
Yeah.
Like,
We'll get to that here in a second. I actually
should,
have a picture
I
here.
think we should talk about that in the show next week, actually, because
Uh,
like that's a whole dive.
Maybe, yeah. We'll bring that up next show actually because we have about 18 minutes left. But if Alice, if you, yeah, you are looking.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
So here you go. Here's the Caledonian Mountains. Here's the British Isles. There's Scotland up here. So everything in brown was connected. So here's the Morocco here. Here's the Appalachian Mountains. So all of this was connected.
Yeah,
That's pretty
just
wild.
fully broke apart. And he was actually like, and this is what's funny. It's like this customer of mine. So like it just felt like it felt eerily but calmingly soothing to be out in Ireland because like he's like, oh my god, like it is part of the Appalachians, like Nova Scotia, part of Greenland, Iceland,
Florida's
England,
in here too.
Ireland. Yeah.
That's really
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And you
it's
want
part
to?
of
I
Africa.
remember how they figured this out. You want to know how they figured out all of this? Specifically,
What,
this connection. They found fossils on both of these continents. They found the same exact type of fossils, and then they put two
Oh
and two
damn.
together, and they're like, oh hey, the fossils here and the fossils here are the same because they were connected physically at one point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole different kit and caboodle we can get into, but like I just find that interesting that this guy, like customer told me about this. I never even thought about it. Like I've known about like Pangea, like as a supercontinent and everything, but I never like put two and two together and thinking about like part like the reason why like northern England and Scotland and Ireland and Iceland and part of Greenland are like that. Is
And
because of the
Africa. Don't forget
Appalachians.
Africa.
Yeah, and Africa is because of the Appalachians.
Well, they
It's
make
really
they made the
interesting
Appalachians.
thing.
Yeah.
I
Like,
love
does
how the
seem-
picture like it looks like Florida's a weenus, up Enos P. Enos P.
It
Alice.
seems naturally more
Venus Bay.
peaceful over there. I think Americans are a little just more high strung than the rest of the world.
Yeah, we are.
yeah,
We're a weird bunch.
we are.
But
Especially
anyway,
especially us Californians.
not even going to California. That could be a whole nother show in itself as well.
Oh, believe me, I can make it a show, no problem.
Oh yeah, I know. The life of
Follow it
California,
right up with Illinois.
or the Twin Cities.
Well, Illinois can get a bit Illinoising, so
Yeah, it really can.
California
It's
can
kind of
get
back and
quite
forth
California.
politically.
I don't know about my state, but
well,
Yeah.
that's when you want to Connecticut somebody.
Yeah.
bro.
And what are you gonna say for Minnesotans there, Xander?
Oh, I thought you were from Wisconsin.
Fuck you.
Alice, you opened up the door. Come on. Why do you do
Yeah, I
this?
know. But I wasn't thinking you're going there. We made little jokes about other people's states, and you can't make one up for me.
Well, yeah, I can. Everybody knows that New York is a Big Apple, but nobody knows where the Minneapolis.
Of course you mentioned
Fair
it.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Well, anyways, I believe that this should conclude our show today.
It's been a good show. Unless anybody else has any other things to talk about. Nuclear Jack, this is your first time. Here's the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, take the floor,
Oh.
buddy.
Oh boy, what to talk about? I was reading an article before I got on here about this band, and they are at some controversy because on Good Friday they released a song called Jesus Walks Into a Gay Bar. And so you
Oh.
can imagine people are pissed.
Oh.
Uh,
Well, then, I don't even. This sounds like something that like Electric Six, the band, would do, but
People seem really offended by it. Me, I kind of laugh at it because I'm like, you're just assuming things. You're taking like a historical figure and putting your own twist to it or your own label on it.
and well, when hasn't someone to look like a lot of people have made fun of Muhammad, but look what Charlie Hebdo happened. You know, they got slaughtered over it for Muhammad. But how many times has that happened? That could be we could actually discuss this next week about that whole topic right there.
I
That's
actually have
actually
a
an
news
interesting
article
idea.
here. I found one.
But how many times? Well, you could actually say that more people have died in the name of their god than any other warfare out there in the world. Because a lot of time warfare goes over religion. So
Well, yeah, we can look at the Crusades. You know.
yeah, or Christians aren't innocent in this at all.
Oh, no, nobody's innocent.
Yeah,
Let
how
he
many
who
people
is
have
without
killed in
sin
the name
cast
of
the
their
first
God?
stone.
Yeah, well, how many people have killed in the name of God?
Yeah.
But we could actually talk
None.
about this another
You know,
time.
that's
Actually, that would be a
actually-
very good.
That's a conversation where people have done that for good and bad. Like,
Yeah, well, no one's innocent in this. The only thing that
Yeah.
sucks about the one thing that sucks the most is that innocent people lost their lives over it.
yeah,
And
Like
so
a
we
lot
could
of
we
things.
could go into this. I'd actually totally be down for it, but I want to close up the show and have people who watch this reflect and look into some of these interesting things we were talking about. They're small things, they're not major massive, but some of them are actually major massive at the same time.
And please interact
Something
with
how
us
you
in the
look at
comments
it.
section. Start a dialogue. You know.
Yeah, make a dialogue down below. We would love to hear what anybody has to say about this, of the stuff, of the topics we talked about. Anyone has anything to say against it? We're more than happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
And if you we would lovely have you on the show to have a different dialogue. Oh crap, I'm done.
Your camera's being weird. No, I think that's a good. Yeah, we've had a really good conversation here.
Yeah,
Oh.
definitely.
yep.
Is Alice there still? Okay. I guess I'll close this out. She's having technological differences right now. That's how I conclude the show. Once again, you can check the underbar of the description for any links you may find interesting, including my limited to all things Omni Coalition. I don't know why this is. Oh, I have the wrong script up here. Actually, whoopsie doodle. Hold on a second. I don't even have this up. So TD8. Nope. The Kick Peanut. Bear with me. I had the wrong script up. For your dose of. Okay, this is Deuce. Okay. Well, whatever. Okay, yada yada. For all of you and all of us, I am Xander.
I'm Scotty Bugatti.
And I'm Jack. I'm glad to be here with you guys, and I'd love to come back.
Hell yeah. And Alice, aka Stape, she's here. She's having technological differences, as I said. Technical difficulties. Anyway, until you catch us next Sunday, or if you're interested in some history show, we have a history show every day at 10 in the morning Pacific time. Until you see us whenever it is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!
Right.